The rescue that changed everything. The twin suns of planet Dravenus were setting, painting the sky with red and purple light. The desert wind blew hard across the sharp black rocks. It was not a safe place to be after dark. But Derek Lane, a human engineer, was not here by choice. He was on a repair mission for the Galactic Trade Union. His small repair shuttle had broken down. Now he was alone, waiting for help that might never come. He sat on a broken crate, checking his worn-out communicator. No signal, just more static. Suddenly he heard something strange, a loud boom, followed by screams and blaster fire. Derek stood up quickly and looked toward the sound. It was coming from a narrow canyon nearby. Most people would run the other way. Derek ran toward it. He moved fast, climbing the rocks until he reached the edge of the canyon. What he saw below made his heart race. A convoy of armored alien vehicles had been ambushed. Bodies lay scattered and smoke rose from burning wreckage. Alien guards, tall, scaled warriors, were fighting for their lives. In the center of the chaos stood a large muscular alien in a long purple robe. His chest armor was gold. His voice was deep, shouting orders in a strange language. It was Baron Vorkaz, one of the most feared alien warlords in this sector. Derek had heard of him. Everyone had. Ruthless, powerful. But now the Baron was under attack. A group of assassins wearing black suits and masks moved in from both sides, surrounding the Baron. The alien guards were losing. One by one, they fell. Derek saw a masked assassin pull out a strange red energy blade. He leaped toward the Baron, aiming for his chest. Without thinking, Derek pulled out his emergency flare gun. He aimed and fired. Bang! The shot hit the assassin in the back. It wasn't a killing blow, but it was enough. The Baron turned, grabbed the attacker, and crushed him with a metal punch. Derek climbed down fast and joined the fight, grabbing a dropped blaster from the ground. He had never used one before. But he fired anyway. Wild, shaking, but hitting one of the attackers in the leg. Together, he and the Baron pushed back the last two assassins. When it was over, Derek was breathing hard, his hands shaking. The Baron looked down at him with glowing, red eyes. "You are human," he said in a deep voice. Derek nodded slowly. "Yeah. Just helping." The Baron stared at him in silence for a moment. Then he gave a short laugh. "Brave or stupid," the alien said. "Either way, I live. Because of you." Two remaining guards helped the wounded Baron to his ship, a black and silver cruiser. The Baron turned back and waved his hand. "Come. You will be honored." Derek hesitated, but something inside told him to go. Inside the ship, everything was golden glass. Alien art decorated the walls. Servants bowed as they passed. Derek felt out of place, but no one dared question him. In a wide throne room, the Baron sat and raised a hand. A servant came forward, carrying a large silver box with blue lights on the edges. The Baron pointed at Derek. "You saved my life. I offer you a reward. Something rare. Something living." Derek's eyes widened. Living? The box was placed in front of him. It was quiet. No sound from inside. Carefully, Derek touched the panel. The box made a soft click and opened with a hiss of cold air. Inside was a girl. She was curled up like a doll, covered in a soft silver cloth. Her skin was light purple with glowing lines like veins of energy. Her long hair was blue and shimmered like water. Her eyes, when they opened, were deep and glowing. "White," she looked at Derek. Her lips moved. "Please," she whispered, "don't send me back." Derek looked at the Baron, confused. "Who is she?" The Baron smiled. "She is yours now. A gift. I no longer need her." Derek looked back at the girl. She was young, fragile, and clearly scared. "What do you mean? You no longer need her?" The Baron leaned back in his seat. "She was once useful. Now, perhaps you'll find a new use for her. Or don't. Your choice." Derek didn't know what to say. This wasn't a gift, it felt wrong. But when the girl reached out her shaking hand and touched his, he felt a cold spark of something strange and deep. The room suddenly felt dangerous. Something about this girl was not ordinary. Something about this gift was a warning in disguise. She's not just a gift, more unique version. The alien girl didn't move much during the flight. She sat quietly in a corner of Derek's small transport ship, wrapped in a soft blanket he had found. Her bright white eyes watched him closely, but said nothing. Derek tried to break the silence. "Do you have a name?" Her voice was low, almost like a breath. "Zerea." He nodded. "I'm Derek. You're safe now." Zerea blinked slowly. "You think I'm safe? But you don't know what I am?" That made him stop. There was no anger in her tone. Only fear. Later that night, while the ship drifted through deep space, Derek checked the box she had come in. There were strange alien symbols etched into the inside walls. He scanned them with his translator device. The symbols translated into 5 words: property of Vorkaz, Class X-13. He frowned. Class X-13? He searched the term in his galactic database. The screen blinked red. Restricted file. Weapon code. His heart sank. He looked across the room at Zerea. She was fast asleep, but her hands were still shaking even in her dreams. The next morning, something odd happened. Derek noticed the ship's lights flicker. Then the engine stuttered for a few seconds. He checked the control panel. A strange code was running in the background. He didn't recognize it, but it looked like a silent transmission was being sent out. "Someone's pinging our location," he muttered. He turned off the signal line manually, but the code came back. Automatically. "Zerea," he said carefully, walking over to her. "Is there anything in you? A tracker? A signal?" She stared at him blankly, then looked away. "They built one into my blood." "What?" "They call it ghost metal. You can't cut it out. You can't block it. Wherever I go, they see." Derek ran a hand through his hair. "So they know you're with me?" Zerea didn't answer. She didn't have to. That same hour, Derek got a message on the comms. It wasn't from the Baron. It was from a bounty hunter. Cold voice, no face on screen. "You have something that doesn't belong to you, human. Return it or be turned to dust." The message ended before Derek could reply. He looked at Zerea. She looked small and scared, but something in her posture had changed. She was sitting straighter now. Her glowing veins pulsed brighter. He realized something important. She wasn't weak. She was hiding her strength. Later, as they floated through asteroid fields to avoid tracking, Derek asked, "What are you really, Zerea?" She looked out the window for a long time before answering. "I was born inside a lab. Not from parents, but from machines. They created me to be part spy, part weapon. I can listen without being seen. I can learn faster than others. They said I would help win wars." "Why would they give you to me then?" Derek asked. She gave him a bitter smile. "Because I started thinking for myself. That made me broken." Derek leaned back in his seat. "That's not broken. That's human." Zerea tilted her head. "I am not human." He smiled faintly. "Could have fooled me." Later that night, alarms screamed. A ship was following them, fast, dark, and armed. Derek tried to dodge, but their small shuttle wasn't fast enough. Zerea stood up, calm as ever. Her hands glowed faintly. "Open the back hatch." "What?" "They'll board us." "I won't let them," she said. "Trust me." Derek hesitated, but then hit the button. The back hatch opened and cold space rushed in. The enemy ship sent a cable line to attach. Zerea stepped forward, eyes glowing fully now. She reached out with one hand, and the cable snapped mid-air. She then touched the air with both hands. A wave of energy burst out from her skin like an invisible storm. The enemy ship lost control, spun away, and crashed into an asteroid with a flash. Derek stood frozen. What did you just do?" Zerea turned slowly, her glow fading. "I stopped hiding." She fell to her knees, exhausted. Derek, caught her. You saved us, he whispered. Her voice was soft. I am not a gift, Derek, I'm a warning. Escape from the Baron's eyes. More unique version. Derek didn't sleep that night. Zerea was resting in the ship's medbay, her breathing slow but steady. He watched the monitors quietly, mind racing. She had destroyed a warship with her hands. That kind of power. It wasn't natural. And yet she had begged him not to send her back. He pulled up a secure terminal and began digging through restricted files using some old Union backdoors he had used in the past. Finally, he found a reference. Project Echo Flame. It matched the label from her silver box. X-13. According to the file, it was a top-secret experiment to create sentient bioweapons. Grown, trained, and tested. But the file had one last note. Subject X-13 marked for disposal, too unpredictable. He closed the file. His jaw clenched. Zerea wasn't just a girl with powers. She was a target. And if Baron Voorkes knew she survived, he wouldn't stop until she was back in his control. Or dead. The ship suddenly shook. Derek stood and rushed to the cockpit. The navigation system was blinking red. A gravity net had been activated, pulling their ship down toward a nearby moon. No, 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 he muttered. A message flashed across the screen. Surrender the asset. You have 1 hour. He looked out the window. A patrol cruiser, black and bone-colored shaped like a fang, was hovering above the moon's surface. Voorkes's mark glowed red on its side. They're already here. Derek ran to the medbay. Zerea, wake up. She opened her eyes slowly. They found us? Yes. But we're not giving up. There's a mining base on that moon. We can hide there. She sat up, weak but alert. That base, it's not empty. I remember it. You've been there? She nodded. It's one of the places they trained me, underground, full of traps. Derek grabbed a pulse rifle from the ship's locker. Sounds like the perfect place to lose some bounty hunters. They landed hard on the rocky moon, kicking up black dust. The old mining base looked abandoned from above, but inside it was a maze of dark tunnels, broken rails, and thick shadows. They entered fast, sealing the doors behind them. Inside, Zerea led him through the dark like she had walked those halls in her dreams. Her hand ran along the wall, feeling hidden patterns. They changed things. But the base still knows me, she whispered. What do you mean? She pointed to a corner. Derek looked closer. There was a panel hidden in the wall. Zerea pressed her palm against it. The wall clicked and slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel. Training exit, she said. They slipped inside just as the first group of hunters landed outside. The hunters were fast. 6 tall aliens in cloaked armor, scanners glowing on their heads. One touched the dirt. She was here, the alien hissed. Deep inside the tunnel, Derek's comms crackled. The hunters were speaking in coded language. Zerea stopped suddenly. There's something ahead, she whispered. They turned a corner and faced a massive creature blocking the path. It looked like a mix of lizard and machine, a training guardian, left behind from the old experiments. Its single red eye scanned them. Then it roared and charged. Derek aimed his rifle, but Zerea held out her hand. Let me, she said calmly. She stepped forward, her skin glowing faintly. The beast stopped mid-run. It tilted its head, then slowly lowered itself to the ground, and backed away. Derek's jaw dropped. You controlled it? No, Zerea said. It remembered me. They kept moving deeper until they reached an old command room. Screens flickered weakly. Derek powered one up and saw a live feed. The bounty hunters were already inside. They're spreading out, he said. Zerea looked at the map. There's a cargo lift at the far end. We can reach it before they do, if we go through the lower vents. You sure? She nodded. They never trained in the vents, too small, too dark. That's where I used to hide. As they crawled through the vents, Derek asked, why did they stop using you? Zoraya's voice echoed softly. Because I stopped following orders. And why are you helping me now? She paused. Because you didn't try to control me. You asked my name. No one ever did that before. They reached the cargo lift just as alarms began to blare. One hunter had found the entrance to the vent. Derek slammed the lift button. Come on, come on. The doors opened and they jumped in. Blaster fire rang out behind them, but the lift door closed just in time. As they shot upward, Zoraya fell, back against the wall, breathing heavily. They'll come again, she said. I know, Derek replied, but next time we'll be ready. The hunt begins. More unique version. The stars above the moon faded as Derek's ship pushed back into space. He sat in the pilot seat, staring at the silent black sky. His mind wasn't calm. His hands were tight on the controls. Behind him, Zoraya sat curled up near the power core, her body glowing faintly with thin lines of blue. They had escaped the mining base, but not the danger. Vorkaz would not stop. He had sent hunters, shadows, weapons, and next, he would send an army. Zoraya spoke quietly, breaking the silence. He's not trying to kill me. Derek looked back. What? She met his eyes. If he wanted me dead, I would already be gone. He wants me alive. He wants to control me again. Derek remembered the way her energy had bent metal, crushed machines, even made beasts obey. Because of what you can do? She nodded. He wants a weapon, not a person. They couldn't outrun the hunters forever. So Derek made a decision. They needed answers. Answers only found in the ruins of the lab that made Zoraya, located deep inside the red dust zone, a forgotten section of space filled with broken satellites and dead ships. He keyed in the course manually. Zoraya watched him. You want to? Go back to where I was born? I want to find the truth, Derek replied. Before they find us. As their ship entered the red dust zone, the stars vanished behind waves of metal fog. Old wrecks floated like ghosts. Derek slowed the ship, guiding it carefully through jagged metal fields. Then ahead, a dome, half buried in a shattered asteroid, covered in scars. Lifeless. Zoraya sat forward. That's it. Derek landed on a broken pad. The door opened with a rusty groan, and a wave of dry, hot air hit them. They stepped inside the forgotten lab, their boots echoing in empty metal halls. Zoraya walked slower here, her fingers touching the walls, as if remembering things she didn't want to remember. Used to scream here, she said. No one listened. Derek said nothing. They reached a sealed room at the center. Derek bypassed the lock and the door hissed open. Inside were glass pods, all broken. Zoraya looked at them. These were my sisters. We were called Echo units. Only I survived final testing. One pod, still half intact, had a label. Echo X13. Observation. Displays independent thought dangerous. Derek found a datapad on the table. He powered it up. The final entry read, Subject X13's link to the ancient tech is stronger than expected. If not controlled, she could activate dormant weapons buried in the outer sectors. Immediate removal advised. He looked at her. They were afraid of you. Zoraya nodded. Because I didn't want to be their puppet. Suddenly alarms screamed. Derek rushed to the console. They tracked us again, he said. 2 ships incoming, Vorkaz's elite hunters. Zoraya looked toward the back of the room. There's a launch tunnel. It leads to an old test arena. We can hide there. No, Derek said. We make a stand. Zoraya blinked. You would fight them? For me? Damn right, he said. They ran to the control room. Derek pulled up the defense systems. Only one turret still worked, but the power core was unstable. Zoraya touched the panel. I can boost it just for a minute. He looked at her. It could hurt you. I don't care, she said. I'm done running. She placed both, hands on the core. Her body lit up like a star. The turret powered to life, twice its normal strength. Just as the enemy ship landed, the turret fired. The first ship exploded in the air, but the second ship released a hunter mech, 10 feet tall, armored like a walking tank. It marched straight toward them. Zerea collapsed, weak from the energy burst. Derek grabbed his blaster and ran forward. The mech turned to fire, but Zerea, still on the ground, whispered something. A pulse of raw energy shot out from her skin, hitting the mech like a hammer. It stumbled, long enough for Derek to jump and blast its sensor eye. It fell with a crash. Silence followed. Derek dropped to the ground, holding Zerea close. "You okay?" She nodded slowly, eyes half closed. "We can't stay here. More will come." Derek looked at the wreckage. "She's right," he whispered. This was just the beginning. Secrets of the living weapon, more unique version. The smell of burning metal filled the broken lab. Zerea lay on the floor, her skin dim, her body shaking. She had used too much energy to save them. Derek carried her to a side chamber, away from the dead machines and glowing wreckage. He laid her gently on a bench. She looked up at him, pale but conscious. "I wasn't supposed to survive this long." Derek knelt beside her. "You're not a machine, Zerea, you're alive. You choose your own path." Zerea's lips curved slightly. That's what they feared most. Derek scanned the room. They were in. It was smaller, older, less a lab, more a vault. The door was sealed shut from inside. On the far wall stood a black pedestal with a crystal orb floating above it, glowing faint red. Zerea sat up slowly. Her glowing eyes narrowed. "That's it," she whispered. "That's the core they built me from." Derek stared. "What is it?" "A relic," she said. "Not made by my creators, but found. Ancient tech, from before the Empire. They used it to shape my mind, my power." She stood, legs weak but steady. Her fingers reached for the orb, and as she touched it, her body lit up. Lines of energy flowing through her veins like lightning. Memories hit her like waves. She saw herself as a child, locked in a tube, machines feeding her false dreams, instructors shouting commands, her body lifting objects without touching them, screams, lights, pain, and then a voice, soft and strange, speaking in an alien language, not from her captors but from the orb itself. The ancient machine had spoken to her mind long ago. "You are not theirs." Zerea pulled her hand away. Her eyes were wide. "I was made from something they didn't understand. They tried to control it, but they couldn't." Derek nodded. "That's why they shut the project down. Not because you failed, but because you succeeded." She turned toward him. "And now Vorkaz wants to finish what they started. He thinks he can control me." Derek stood. "Then we don't let him." Suddenly, an alarm sounded from Derek's wristband. He checked it. "We've got company." A big signal. Moving fast. Zerea closed her eyes. "He's here." Above the ruined lab, a massive warship entered orbit. Vorkaz's personal command ship, the Skullfang, was dark, silent, and shaped like a dagger. Its scanners swept the surface like hunters smelling prey. Inside the ship, Baron Vorkaz stood at a tall window. "Prepare the stasis collar," he ordered. "And tell the human, he may surrender peacefully, or not at all." Back in the lab, Derek was rewiring old power cells. "We need to leave. I've got enough juice to fly, but not enough to fight." Zerea didn't move. She was staring at the orb again. "There's something I need to show you," she said. She walked to the wall and pressed a hidden panel. The wall opened, revealing a second chamber. Inside were weapons. Strange ones. Old. Alien. Shaped like claws, crystals, and spheres. Zerea stepped in and picked up a long black staff with glowing rings. "This was mine. Before they took it away." She spun the staff in her hands. It responded to her touch like it remembered her. Derek stared. "You were trained for war?" She looked at him. "No. I was trained to be used for war, but now I can fight for myself." The ground shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Vorkaz's ship had landed. Derek checked the map. They'll be inside in minutes. Zerea held the staff tightly. Then we don't run this time. The doors to the lab burst open. Vorkaz's soldiers came first, tall, armored, fast. Derek opened, fire with his blaster. Zerea walked forward, calm as ever. Her staff began to glow. With a single swing, she sent a wave of force that threw 3 soldiers into the wall like paper. But they just kept coming. Derek shouted, "We need to fall back." "No," Zerea whispered. "I'm not done yet." She raised her hand. A bright wave of energy filled the chamber. Machines shook. The lights exploded. The ancient tech in the room responded to her like it had waited years for this moment. The walls pulsed with light. And then, the soldiers stopped, moving, frozen in place. Their weapons turned off. Their armor fell silent. Zerea stepped past them. Derek stared, stunned. "How did you—" She turned to him. "The lab was built to obey me. I am its heart." But a deeper hum filled the air now. A shape appeared in the doorway. Baron Vorkaz himself, cloaked in shadow armor, holding a blade of pure light. He looked at Zerea. "Come home, X-13. She stared back. "I have no home but my choice." He raised his weapon. She raised her staff. Betrayal in the stars. More unique version Baron Vorkaz stepped into the ruined lab chamber like a shadow walking on fire. The lights flickered as if afraid of his presence. His armor was jet black, laced with red veins that pulsed like they were alive. In one hand, he held a curved energy blade. In the other, a small glowing cube. Zerea stood between him and Derek, her staff shining softly. Her voice was calm but cold. "You don't control me anymore." Vorkaz didn't raise his blade yet. Instead, he slowly lifted the cube. "This holds your mind imprint, the one we built. You think you escaped it, but you didn't. I still hold the key to everything you are." Zerea didn't blink. "Then destroy it." The Baron tilted his head. "Why would I destroy perfection?" He looked at Derek. "You," he said. "You polluted her, made her forget what she was created for. You think she's human. She's not. She's free," Derek replied. "And she's not yours." Vorkaz finally moved. Fast. He threw the cube into the air. It hovered, pulsing faster. Zerea gasped. Her head throbbed. Her knees buckled. The cube was activating a control signal, reaching into the core of her mind, dragging up buried commands and locked programming. She screamed and dropped her staff. "Zerea!" Derek shouted, running to her. Vorkaz smiled. She was made to obey. All I need to do is remind her. But something happened. Zerea didn't fall. She stood up, shaking, crying, but standing. The glowing veins in her skin burned bright blue, fighting back against the red signal. She clenched her fists. "I choose who I am." The cube sparked, then exploded midair with a blinding flash. Vorkaz's smile vanished. "You've changed." Zerea raised her staff. "No, I woke up." The battle began. Vorkaz attacked, fast and deadly. His blade cut through the air like lightning. Zerea blocked with her staff. Sparks flew. Each strike shook the walls. Derek took cover, watching. The two figures dance in the storm of energy. They were not just fighting, they were undoing years of control. Suddenly, a voice crackled through Derek's comm. "Derek Lane. This is Captain Relis of the Earth Alliance. Respond." He tapped it quickly. "This is Derek. We're under attack. Baron Vorkaz is here. Repeat, he's here." Relis answered. "Understood. We tracked his flagship. You've got 10 minutes. Then we're lighting the sky." Derek looked at Zerea. She was breathing hard, her arms shaking. She was strong, but not for much longer. He ran to the control panel and began activating the lab's hidden turrets. Vorkaz knocked Zerea down. He stepped toward her, blade raised. "Last chance, come back." Zerea didn't answer. Derek pressed the final button. The turrets dropped from the ceiling and locked onto Vorkaz's fire. The chamber filled with red beams. The Baron moved fast, deflecting most, but one shot hit his shoulder, another his side. His armor cracked. He roared in pain. Zerea stood again. No more cages. She struck the ground with her staff. A shockwave blasted outward. Walls shattered. The ancient tech flared with blue light. Vorkaz flew backward, crashing into the far wall. Smoke filled the air. They didn't wait. Derek helped Zareya to her feet. Together, they ran to the lift. The ancient systems were failing. The lab was collapsing. "I've sent a beacon to the Earth Alliance," Derek said. "They're coming." Zareya nodded weakly. "We must reach orbit." Back on their ship, Derek powered up the engines. The lab cracked open beneath them, glowing with fire. Vorkaz's ship began to rise behind them, slowly recovering. But then, a new fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Earth Alliance cruisers. Shining, powerful, loud. A voice came through. "This is Captain Relis. Target locked." Derek watched the screen as Earth's ships opened fire. Vorkaz's flagship exploded in a wave of red and black flame. The Baron was gone. But not everything was over. Back inside the ship, Zareya sat quietly. "Something's wrong," she whispered. Derek turned to her. "What?" She looked at him, eyes filled with sorrow. "I felt it before we left. Someone sent our location. They knew exactly where we were." Derek froze. "You think someone betrayed us?" Zareya nodded. "Someone inside Earth Alliance." The ship floated silently toward the nearest station, but trust had already cracked, because the real fight was just beginning. The final choice, more unique, an extended edition. The stars outside were quiet, but Zareya's heart was not. Derek's ship floated gently in orbit above the burned ruins of the old lab. Behind them, the wreckage of Baron Vorkaz's flagship still glowed faint red, slowly breaking apart in the black void. They had survived. They had won. But something still felt wrong. Zareya sat in the quiet cabin, staring at her hands. The blue energy in her veins was dim now. Her strength was almost gone. But her mind was racing with new thoughts. She had felt something strange during the battle. Right before Vorkaz arrived, someone had pinged their ship's location. A soft pulse, a signal she recognized. It wasn't from the Baron. It was from someone inside Earth Alliance Command. Derek entered the room with 2 cups of hot synth coffee. "You okay?" he asked, offering her a cup. Zareya didn't take it. "I think your people were part of this." Derek frowned. "Earth Alliance helped us. They blew up Vorkaz's ship." "Yes," she said slowly. "But they knew exactly where to find us. Too fast, too perfect." Derek sat across from her. "You think someone betrayed us?" Zareya nodded. "Maybe not all of them, but someone wants me captured, or worse, used." A loud beep broke the silence. A message flashed across the main console. "Priority order, Earth Alliance. Derek Lane, you and Subject X-13 are ordered to report aboard the cruiser Vigilant Star immediately. Medical assistance and debrief required. Refusal will be taken as threat-level defiance." Zareya stood slowly. "That's not a rescue," she said. "That's a demand." Derek's jaw tightened. "Then we don't go." She looked at him. "If we run now, they'll chase us forever. I don't want more war." "Then what do we do?" Zareya's eyes glowed faintly. "We go, and we decide on our terms." The Vigilant Star was a massive, silver ship, smooth like a blade, quiet like a ghost. Derek's small shuttle was locked into its hangar bay with precision. As they stepped out, a team of officers waited. One stood at the front, a tall woman with gray hair and a silver badge. "Commander Varys," she said. "Welcome back, Lane. And you must be the alien girl who broke half a moon in half." Zareya said nothing. The commander gave a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Let's talk in private." Inside the command room, large screens displayed battle footage, lab files, and energy scans of Zareya. Commander Varys folded her arms. "Let me be clear. Earth Alliance is grateful. You stopped Vorkaz, but we can't ignore what she is." "She has a name," Derek said sharply. "Zareya." Varys ignored him. What we see is a living weapon made from alien tech. She's unpredictable, unstable, and possibly dangerous. We can't let her roam free. Zireya spoke at last. You want to lock me up? Study me. Varys smiled. We want to protect our future. That means understanding your potential. Zireya stood slowly. I understand myself already. Her skin lit up softly. Derek stepped between them. You said you'd help her, not trap her. Varys's voice grew cold. You don't make decisions anymore, Lane. We do. If you interfere again, you'll be treated as a hostile. They left the room in silence. Back in the guest quarters, Derek paced. Zireya sat on the bed, silent and calm. He spoke first. We should run. No, she said. He stopped. Why not? She looked at him with a steady gaze. Because I want them to hear my choice, not their orders. The next day, Zireya requested a meeting with the Council of Command, the ruling board of the Earth, Alliance Fleet. It was held in a large chamber, round, cold, and full of powerful men and women. Zireya walked in alone. She wore a simple white cloak. No weapons, no tricks. Derek watched from behind thick glass, his fists clenched. But he said nothing. This was her battle now. She stood at the center. Dozens of eyes stared at her. Counselor Jarn spoke first. Subject X-13. What do you have to say for yourself? Zireya's voice was clear. My name is Zireya. I was made to be a tool for war, grown in a lab, trained to obey. But I broke free. Murmurs filled the chamber. I didn't destroy your enemies because you told me to. I did it because it was right. I'm not asking for freedom, I'm claiming it. Yarn stood. And what will you do with this freedom? Zireya turned slowly, meeting every face. I will go where I choose, help where I can. And if anyone tries to chain me again, whether they look like my makers or not, I will fight. A long silence followed. Then a voice broke the air. You are dangerous. Zireya smiled softly. So is every free person. Hours passed. The council argued behind closed doors. Derek waited in the ship, staring out the window. Finally, the doors opened. Zireya stepped in. He stood quickly. Well, she nodded. They're letting me go. His eyes widened. Seriously? She chuckled softly. On one condition. What is it? That someone trustworthy watches over me in case I get dangerous. Derek blinked. Wait, me? She walked up to him. You already did that. From the start. He laughed. So what now? She looked at the stars. Now we live. Weeks later. The small ship cut through the edge of space like a bird newly freed from its cage. Zireya sat in the pilot seat. Her hands were steady. Her heart was light. Derek was behind her, working on engine calibrations. Their mission was simple now. Go where help was needed. Not for empires, not for councils, but for people. They had no flags, no masters, just a name painted on the side of their ship in soft blue letters. The choice. Zireya smiled. This time, it was truly hers.